Have you ever noticed, my dear, that some days you walk into a room and you do not need to say a word, and yet something in you is already speaking? Perhaps your energy feels heavy, tired, guarded, as though life has been too much. Or perhaps there are mornings when you feel strangely light, open, hopeful, and people respond to you differently. This is not imagination in the foolish sense. This is the living field of energy you carry. Your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, your breath, your love, your fear, your faith, all of it creates an atmosphere around you. And when that atmosphere begins to cooperate with life instead of fighting it, something very beautiful starts to happen. I like to call that inner magic. Not magic as something strange or far away, but the natural miracle that awakens when your heart, your mind, your body, and the universe begin moving in the same direction. The magic within me awakens when I align with life. You are not here to force the universe into your little plan. That is not how true power works. True power is softer than that. It listens, it opens, it trusts. It says, there is a greater intelligence here, and I am willing to cooperate with it. You may call this intelligence God. You may call it the universe. You may call it life, divine mind, spirit, love, or the power that created you. The name is not as important as the relationship. When you feel separate from life, everything feels like a struggle. You push, chase, control, worry, and try to make things happen from fear. But when you remember that you are part of life, not outside of it, you begin to move differently. You still take action, yes, but the action is no longer frantic. It has breath in it. It has faith in it. It has a little smile in it, because somewhere inside you know, I am not doing this alone. This is what I mean by bio-universal energy. Bio is the living presence in you. It is your breath, your body, your awareness, your heart, your soul's little flame. It is the life that wakes up in the morning and says, I am here. And universal is the vast field of life. Around you, the intelligence that grows, flowers, moves tides, carries stars, heals skin, guides timing, opens doors, and brings people together in ways the mind could never fully plan. When the life in you begins to trust the life around you, you feel connected, you feel guided, you feel less alone. You may not know every answer, but you feel that there is a path. You may not see every detail, but you sense that something good can form. The life in me is connected to the life of the universe. And perhaps you have already felt this in small ways. A thought comes to you at just the right time. A person calls when you needed encouragement. A door closes, and later you see it was protection. You walk outside, feeling heavy, and the sky softens something in you. You decide to stop chasing, and suddenly your own energy returns. These are not always dramatic miracles. Sometimes inner magic is very quiet. It is the feeling that life is whispering, come this way. It is the little nudge to rest, to call someone, to write something down, to forgive, to wait, to begin again. And the more peaceful you become inside, the easier it is to hear these little whispers. Now let us talk about the aura, because whether we use that word or simply say energy, you know what I mean. You have felt people before they spoke. You have felt the tension in a room. You have felt kindness in someone's eyes. You have felt when your own energy was closed and when it was open. Your aura is like the atmosphere of your consciousness. When the mind is filled with fear, the energy often contracts. When the heart is full of resentment, the energy may feel heavy. When you are criticizing yourself all day, something around you becomes dim, not because you are bad, but because your own inner voice is tiring your spirit. And when you begin to speak to yourself with love, forgive little by little, breathe more deeply, bless your body, and expect good, the field around you begins to change. It becomes softer, brighter, more welcoming. Your energy speaks before your words do. This is why positive thoughts are not just pretty sentences. They are little lights you place in your field. Love is not only an emotion, it is a frequency you carry. Faith is not only a belief, it is the way your body relaxes because it remembers that life has more ways than fear can see. Gratitude is not only politeness, it is a door opener. It tells the whole inner system, there is already good here, and more good can come. When these qualities begin to live in you, you do not need to force attraction. You become more available to the good that has been trying to find you. My energy speaks before my words do. So if you want to activate your inner magic, begin very simply. Do not begin by demanding a miracle. Begin by cleaning the atmosphere within you. Notice the thoughts you have been repeating. Are they loving? Are they hopeful? Are they kind? Do they make your body soften? Or do they make your whole being close? Notice what you consume in the morning. Notice how you speak about your future. Notice whether you are carrying old fear into new moments. This is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming aware. Awareness is like opening a window in a room that has been closed too long. Perhaps today your magic begins with one loving thought, life is with me. Perhaps it begins with one act of faith, doing the next right thing without needing the whole path. Perhaps it begins with one positive sentence spoken not from pressure, but from tenderness. Good is finding me in seen and unseen ways. That is enough. Inner magic is not always a thunderbolt. Very often, it is a small, consistent turning toward love. It is the moment you choose trust instead of panic. It is the moment you bless your body instead of judging it. It is the moment you stop saying, nothing works for me, and begin to wonder, what if life is working in ways I cannot yet see? My dear, there is a power in you that is not separate from the power of the universe. The same intelligence that breathes your body is connected to the intelligence that moves all of life. You are not lost. You are not outside the circle of good. You are not forgotten by love. You are a living expression of life, and when you align your thoughts, your heart, your words, and your faith with what is good, the inner light begins to come on again. So today, do not ask, "Where is my magic?" Ask, "Where have I closed to life?" And then gently open one place. Open the mind with a new thought. Open the heart with gratitude. Open the body with breath. Open the future with faith. Let your energy become a friendly place for good to enter. Let love clean the field around you. Let faith steady your steps. Let positive thoughts become little lamps along the path. The magic within me awakens when I align with life. The life in me is connected to the life of the universe. My energy speaks before my words do. And from that place, my dear, life can begin to surprise you in the most beautiful ways. I want to tell you about 3 keys, my dear. 3 simple keys that can open the door to the little miracles that have been waiting inside you for a long time. Not complicated keys. Not keys that require you to become perfect or spiritual enough or calm enough or healed enough. Just 3 gentle movements of the heart and mind: love, faith, and positive thoughts. Love warms the inner world. Faith steadies the step when the road is not yet clear. Positive thoughts give the subconscious mind a new direction. And when these 3 begin to work together, something in you changes. You stop living only from fear. You stop looking at life as though it is against you. You begin to feel that perhaps life is listening, perhaps life is guiding, perhaps life is responding to the quiet energy you are becoming. That is inner magic. It is not strange. It is not far away. It is the natural power of a heart that has remembered how to cooperate with love. Let us begin with love, because love is always the beginning. Love is the flame in the center of the heart. And I do not mean the kind of love that grips, begs, waits by the phone, or loses itself in another person. That is often fear wearing the name of love. I mean the pure love that says, "I accept myself enough to stop fighting myself." The love that says, "I forgive myself for what I did not know." The love that says, "I am willing to soften toward my own body, my own past, my own mistakes, my own becoming." This love does not shout, it glows. It is like a small candle in a dark room. At first it may seem tiny, but if you protect it, if you feed it, if you return to it, the whole room begins to change. Sometimes people think they must find love outside before the heart can open. But very often, the heart opens when you stop being cruel to yourself, when you stop saying, "Why am I like this?" and begin saying, "Oh, darling, what happened to you?" When you stop rejecting the frightened places and begin holding them, when you stop demanding that you be healed immediately and begin allowing yourself to be human. Love is not only a feeling. Love is a way of standing beside yourself. It is the decision to no longer abandon the inner child when fear appears. It is the decision to speak gently to the body. It is the decision to stop using the past as a weapon against your own heart. And when you place your attention in the heart, something begins to warm. You may place your hand there if it feels natural, or you may simply imagine a little flame in the center of your chest, not a wild fire, a steady one, a loving one, a flame that does not burn you but reminds you that you are alive. Let that flame say, I am here. I am willing to love. I am willing to forgive. I am willing to see myself with softer eyes. The moment you choose love, even a little, fear begins to lose its hardness. The body may exhale. The mind may stop gripping so tightly. The old story may not disappear all at once, but it begins to have less authority. Love is the flame that awakens my inner magic. Love has a way of making life less threatening. The same problem may be there, but your relationship to it changes. When you are afraid, every situation looks like proof that you are alone. When you are in love, even just a little love, the same situation becomes a place where you can practice trust, patience, kindness, or courage. Love does not always remove the mountain in one moment. Sometimes it gives you the warmth to take the next step. Sometimes it melts the shame around the wound so healing can finally enter. Sometimes it helps you stop calling yourself broken and begin calling yourself becoming. And then comes faith. Faith is such a beautiful word, and it is often misunderstood. Faith does not mean you have all the answers. Faith does not mean you never feel afraid. Faith does not mean you can explain exactly how everything will happen. Faith is the quiet willingness to take one step when the whole staircase is not visible. It is the little inner voice that says, there is a wisdom here larger than my current fear. You may call that wisdom God. You may call it the universe. You may call it life, divine intelligence, spirit, or love. The name is not as important as the trust. Faith is the feeling that you are not walking alone, even when the outer world has not yet shown you the whole map. Many people wait for certainty before they move. They say, when I know it will work, I will begin. When I know I will not be hurt, I will open. When I know I cannot fail, I will try. But life does not always give certainty first. Sometimes life gives a nudge, a small idea, a quiet pull, a feeling of go this way. And the mind says, but I cannot see everything. Faith says, you do not need to see everything. Just take the next loving step. That is all. Not 10 steps, not the whole future, just the next step that feels honest, kind, and aligned. Faith relaxes the energy. Fear contracts. Fear says, hurry, force, control. Check again, ask again, explain again. Protect yourself from everything. Faith says, breathe, listen, move when it is time, rest when rest is needed. Life is still working in the unseen. That phrase, the unseen, is very important. So many things are forming before they are visible. A seed is active before the green shoot appears. A baby grows in the womb before the world sees the child. Dawn begins before the sky is bright. Your new life may be moving before your eyes can prove it. Faith is the part of you that knows not to dig up the seed every day just because you cannot yet see the flower. There will be moments when you feel lost, and in those moments, faith can become very simple. It may be one sentence, I am guided, or life knows the way, or the next step will be shown. You do not need a grand spiritual performance. You need a little trust you can hold in your hand, a little trust you can carry through the morning, a little trust you can breathe into when the mind wants to panic. Perhaps you do not know how the healing will come, but you can drink water today. Perhaps you do not know how the abundance will come, but you can take one wise action today. Perhaps you do not know how love will arrive, but you can stop abandoning yourself today. Faith lives in these small choices, and sometimes faith is simply not ruining the present moment with fear of the future. That is very powerful. The mind wants to run ahead and create 10 difficult scenes. Faith brings you back and says, we are here. This moment is enough to meet. You do not need to solve the whole path before lunch. You do not need to know every answer before sleep. You do not need to prove to the universe that you are worried enough to deserve help. Life does not require your anxiety as payment. I do not need to see the whole path to trust the next step. When love and faith begin to work together, your energy changes in a very quiet way. Love says, I am safe enough to soften. Faith says, I am supported enough to move. Love heals the old wound. Faith opens the future. Love comforts the inner child. Faith tells the adult self, you can take one step. Love helps you stop fighting yourself. Faith helps you stop fighting life. Together, they make the heart less rigid and the mind less afraid. And then we come to positive thoughts. Now, let us be honest about this. Positive thinking is not pretending. It is not saying everything is wonderful while your heart is crying and your body is tense. That is not healing. Positive thinking, in the deeper sense, means you choose not to let difficulty become your identity. You may have a problem, but you are not the problem. You may be healing, but you are not broken. You may be waiting, but you are not forgotten. You may have made mistakes, but you are not a mistake. Positive thought is the loving redirection of the mind toward possibility, truth, and support. The mind is creative. Every repeated thought teaches the subconscious mind what to expect, what to notice, and how to feel. If you repeat, nothing ever works for me, the mind begins to look for evidence. If you repeat, people always leave, the nervous system begins to prepare for abandonment. If you repeat, I am too late, the body loses energy before the day begins. But if you begin to choose different thoughts, gently and consistently, the inner atmosphere begins to change. Life can surprise me. I am learning a new way. Good is still possible. I am safe to receive. I am loved by life. These thoughts are not little decorations. They are seeds. They are instructions. They are soft commands sent into the subconscious mind. I like simple affirmations. The subconscious mind does not need complicated paragraphs when it is frightened. It needs warmth and repetition. I am safe. I am willing. I choose love. Life supports me. My good is coming in divine right order. I bless my body. I trust the process of life. One sentence, said with tenderness, can begin to change the direction of the day. And if the mind argues, let it argue a little. You do not need to fight it. The old mind may say, I do not believe this, and you can answer, that is all right, darling. We are practicing. Practice is how new pathways are formed. Practice is how the unfamiliar becomes familiar. Positive thoughts shape feeling. Feeling shapes action. Action shapes life. If you think, I am helpless, you may not take the step. If you think, I can learn, you may try again. If you think, I am unlovable, you may accept crumbs. If you think, I am worthy of kindness, you may finally set a boundary. If you think, there is never enough, you may close your heart to possibility. If you think life has many channels, you may notice an opportunity you would have missed before. This is why thoughts matter. They are not floating things with no power. They become the atmosphere from which you choose. And positive thought becomes even more powerful when it is joined with love. Without love, positive thinking can feel like pressure. With love, it becomes nourishment. Instead of forcing yourself to say, I am perfect and everything is perfect, you might say, I am willing to see this with kinder eyes. That is honest. That is gentle. That can enter the body. Instead of saying, I have no fear, when you clearly feel afraid, you might say, fear is here, and love is here too. That is much more healing. The goal is not to lie to yourself. The goal is to stop frightening yourself. My thoughts are tools of creation, and I choose them with love. Perhaps today you can begin with 3 little practices. First, warm the heart with love. Think of one thing you can forgive yourself for, even a small thing. Say, I did the best I could with what I knew, and I am learning. Second, steady the future with faith. Ask, what is the next gentle step, not the whole plan, just the next step. Third, choose one thought that supports the life you are creating. Write it down, carry it, return to it, not like a command, but like a friend. If your energy feels heavy, do not criticize it. Clean it with love. A heavy field does not mean you are failing. It means you have been carrying too much. You may clear it by breathing, by stepping outside, by drinking water, by blessing your body, by turning off the noise, by saying no to one thing that drains you, by speaking one kind sentence to yourself. Inner magic is practical. It lives in these small acts of alignment. It is not only candles and visions and beautiful words. It is also going to bed on time. It is not answering from panic. It is choosing gratitude when complaint wants the microphone. It is forgiving one small piece of the past so the heart has more room. And if nothing outside changes immediately, stay gentle. Do not say, "It is not working." The first movement may be inside. You feel a little less afraid. You respond a little differently. You stop feeding one old story. You notice one blessing you used to overlook. You take one action from trust instead of desperation. These are signs that the inner magic is waking up. They may seem quiet, but they are powerful. The universe often begins by changing the atmosphere within you, because that is where you will meet every future blessing. There is no need to force the miracle. Let yourself become available to it. Love opens you. Faith steadies you. Positive thoughts guide you. And then life can move through you with less resistance. You may still have human days, of course. You may still feel sad, tired, doubtful, or uncertain. That is all right. You are not trying to become a statue of happiness. You are becoming a living channel of love, learning to return again and again to the thoughts and feelings that support your good. So when the heart feels closed, bring love. When the path feels unclear, bring faith. When the mind starts creating fear pictures, bring a kinder thought. These are the three keys. Simple, but not small. Love is the flame. Faith is the bridge. Positive thoughts are the tools. And together, they awaken the magic that was never really gone. It was only waiting for you to stop fighting yourself and begin aligning with life. My dear, the power that created you did not place you here without support. You are part of life. You are connected to the greater flow. There is wisdom in you, and there is wisdom around you. Let love warm your heart. Let faith guide your next step. Let positive thoughts become little lamps in the mind. Love is the flame that awakens my inner magic. I do not need to see the whole path to trust the next step. My thoughts are tools of creation, and I choose them with love. And from this place, the inner light begins to shine again. When these three elements come together, my dear love, faith, and positive thoughts, you are no longer merely wishing for a miracle. You begin to become the frequency of the miracle. And there is such a difference between wishing and becoming. Wishing often says, "I hope life gives me something so I can finally feel better." Becoming says, "I am willing to feel better now. I am willing to open now. I am willing to think, breathe, speak, and move as someone who is already cooperating with good." This is where inner magic begins to wake up, not because you force the universe, not because you control every detail, not because you know exactly when, where, and how the good will arrive, but because your inner world is no longer arguing with the good you say you want. Love softens the resistance. Faith opens the door to what is not yet visible. Positive thoughts give your energy direction. And little by little, you stop standing outside the miracle, asking where it is. You become the place where it can land. Love is the first key because fear makes everything hard. Fear makes the body hard. the face hard, the heart hard, the mind hard. When fear is running the inner world, you may still ask for beautiful things, but your energy is saying, I do not feel safe to receive. You may ask for love while expecting rejection. You may ask for abundance while expecting loss. You may ask for healing while speaking to the body with criticism. Love changes that atmosphere. Love does not force the fear to disappear. It sits beside fear and says, I am here now. Love brings warmth to the frightened places. Love tells the inner child, you do not have to earn safety by being perfect. Love tells the body, I am listening. Love tells the past, you taught me, but you do not own me. And when love enters, the energy begins to move again. The old contraction loosens. The heart becomes less guarded. You begin to feel that perhaps life is not against you after all. Faith is the second key because the mind always wants proof before it relaxes. The mind says, show me first, then I will believe. But many beautiful things are forming before they can be seen. The seed is busy in the dark before there is a leaf. The baby grows unseen before it is held. A new life often begins as a feeling, a little nudge, a thought, a strange calm, a small next step. Faith is the part of you that says, I do not see the whole picture, but I can trust the next loving movement. Faith does not mean you never doubt. It means doubt is not the only voice you listen to. It means you can stand in the space between the old and the new without running back to fear every time the outer world looks unchanged. Faith helps you keep the door open. And then positive thoughts become the third key. Now, I do not mean forced, cheerful thoughts. I do not mean pretending there is no pain, no bill, no question, no body sensation, no grief. Positive thoughts, when they are real, are thoughts that point you toward life rather than away from it. They say, something good can still happen. I am learning. I am willing to receive. Life has more ways than I can see. I am safe enough to take the next step. These thoughts are not decorations. They are instructions. They tell the subconscious mind what to notice. They teach the body whether to open or close. They create emotional pathways. And when repeated gently, they become a new inner climate. Love opens me, faith carries me, and my thoughts create with me. When these three keys begin working together, you may notice something very interesting. The outer world may not change immediately, but your relationship with the outer world changes. You may still be waiting, but you are no longer waiting with panic. You may still be healing, but you are no longer speaking to yourself as though you are broken. You may still be building, but you are no longer using fear as your only fuel. There is more space in you, more breath, more softness, and that softness is not weakness. It is the beginning of receptivity. One of the first benefits of awakening inner magic is peace, not the kind of peace that depends on everything going perfectly. That is not real peace. Real peace is quieter. It says, I may not know everything yet, but I am not alone in this moment. It says, I can take the next step without fighting the whole future. It says, life is still moving. When your inner magic awakens, you begin to feel calm even before the evidence arrives. And this calm becomes powerful because it stops you from creating more chaos through fear. You make better choices when you are peaceful. You hear your intuition more clearly. You do not rush so quickly into old patterns. You do not sabotage the good simply because it feels unfamiliar. Your intuition becomes clearer too. Fear is noisy. It shouts. It repeats. It imagines disaster and calls it wisdom. Intuition is usually quieter. It may feel like a gentle pull, a simple knowing, a soft yes, a peaceful no, a sudden little idea, or a sense that now is the time. When you are filled with fear, it is hard to hear that quiet guidance. But when love softens you, faith steadies you, and positive thoughts clear the mental room, intuition has more space to speak. You begin to notice the difference between panic and guidance. Panic feels urgent and tight. Guidance often feels calm, even when it asks courage from you. Decisions become lighter, not because every decision becomes easy, but because you are no longer making choices only from survival. You begin to ask better questions, not how can I make sure I never fail, but what feels loving and wise now, not how can I control everyone's reaction, but what choice honors my heart, not what if it goes wrong, but what is the next true step. This is such a lovely change. A life guided by fear becomes small and exhausting. A life guided by love and faith begins to widen, and opportunities may begin to appear in ways you did not expect. Sometimes people think the universe answers only with dramatic events, but often life answers with an idea. A person's name comes to mind. A book falls into your hands. A conversation opens a door. You suddenly feel inspired to clean your room, update your work, write a message, take a walk, rest, study, create, or say no. These may not look like miracles at first, but they are little threads. Follow the loving threads. The universe often leads through small, ordinary nudges. Inner magic helps you recognize them because your energy is no longer completely swallowed by the problem. You may also stop sabotaging yourself. This is one of the quietest and most important benefits. When you do not believe you deserve good, you may push good away without realizing it. You may procrastinate on the opportunity. You may choose people who cannot love you well. You may criticize your body instead of caring for it. You may receive a compliment and immediately reject it. You may feel peace and then create drama because peace feels unfamiliar. But when love, faith, and positive thought begin to live in you, the subconscious mind slowly learns. Good is safe. Love is safe. Receiving is safe. Peace is safe. And then you no longer have to ruin the blessing before it can stay. There is a tender kind of self-trust that grows from this. You stop needing every person to confirm your worth. You stop needing every day to be perfect before you believe life supports you. You stop needing the whole map before you take one step. You begin to feel, I can be with myself. I can listen. I can learn. I can choose again. This is inner magic too. It may not look like fireworks, but it is a miracle when a person who once abandoned themselves begins to stay. It is a miracle when the mind that once attacked itself begins to speak kindly. It is a miracle when the body that once lived in tension begins to soften, and life begins to reflect your new energy. Not always instantly, and not always in the exact form the little mind demanded, but something changes. People may respond differently because you are no longer carrying the same fear. You may notice opportunities because your mind is no longer only scanning for danger. You may attract kinder relationships because you no longer tolerate the same old disrespect. You may take better care of the body because you finally believe it deserves love. You may receive more easily because your heart is not closed by shame. The outer world begins to answer differently because you are asking from a different place. When my inner magic awakens, life begins to answer differently. And if the old fear returns, do not decide you have failed. Please, never use healing as another reason to criticize yourself. Fear may return, doubt may visit, the old thought may knock. That does not mean the magic is gone. It only means you are human and you are practicing. The difference now is that you know how to return. You return to love. You return to faith. You return to one better thought. You return to the heart. You return to the quiet truth that life is still with you. Perhaps today you choose one simple way to practice all three keys. For love, you speak kindly to yourself when you make a mistake. For faith, you take one step without needing the whole path. For positive thought, you replace one old sentence with a new one. Instead of nothing is happening, you say something is forming. Instead of I am behind, you say I am unfolding in divine right time. Instead of I cannot receive this, you say I am learning to allow good. That is enough. Inner magic does not demand that you transform your whole life before sunset. It asks you to align the next moment. You may begin to feel that your life is not only a list of problems to solve, but a relationship with a living universe, a relationship with love, a relationship with the power that breathes you. When you wake, you can ask, how may I align today? When you feel afraid, you can ask, where can I bring love? When you cannot see the path, you can ask, what is the next step? When the mind becomes heavy, you can ask, what thought would open me instead of close me? These questions are small doors. Walk through one. And remember, my dear, you are not trying to become magical as though you are not already connected to life. You are remembering. You are clearing away the fear, criticism, resentment, and old beliefs that covered the light. You are not creating power from nothing. You are allowing the power that has always been within you to move again. The life in you is connected to the life of the universe. The love in you is connected to the great love that holds all things. The thought you choose today becomes a little wave in the field around you. Choose lovingly. So let the 3 keys stay with you in a very simple way. Love when you feel afraid, faith when you cannot see, positive thoughts when the old story wants to return. Not perfectly, not mechanically, just sincerely. A little love here, a little trust there, a new thought in the morning, a kind word to the body, a grateful breath before sleep. These are the little rituals that awaken the inner magic. And as that magic awakens, you may notice that life feels less heavy. You may feel more guided. You may stop fighting yourself so much. You may begin to recognize good before it becomes obvious. You may feel worthy of the blessing before it arrives. That is beautiful. That is the field changing. That is the heart opening. That is the universe finding more ways to meet you. My dear, you do not have to chase miracles. Become available to them. Let love open you. Let faith carry you. Let your thoughts create with you. And then watch, gently and patiently, as life begins to answer in ways you could not have planned with fear. Now, my dear, let us make this very practical, because it is no good to talk about magic only as a lovely idea floating somewhere above the clouds. We want it in the kitchen, we want it in the morning, we want it in the way you pick up your phone, the way you answer someone, the way you breathe when the day becomes a little noisy. I always like things we can use, don't you? Something simple, something we can tuck into the pocket of the day. Because the real magic is not only in a candle or a meditation or a beautiful moment when everything is quiet. The real magic is when you are about to react from fear and then you remember love. The real magic is when the old thought comes back and you smile a little and say, "No, darling, we are choosing a new way now." The real magic is when ordinary life becomes a place where you practice being loved by life. So tomorrow morning, before you touch the phone, give yourself one thought, just one. Not 20 affirmations, not a whole performance, one thought that loves you. Perhaps life is with me today, or good can find me today, or I am guided. Let that be the first little light you switch on inside yourself. Because if the first thing you do is hand your mind to the noise of the world, then the world gets to set the tone. But if you give yourself one loving thought first, you are saying, "This day begins with me and life. This day begins with love." And that is a very powerful way to live. Then, when something difficult happens, and something will, because life is life, do not rush so quickly into the old reaction. The old self may want to complain, defend, shut down, chase, panic, or prove. Let it have one breath, just one. And in that breath ask, what would love choose now? Not what would fear choose. Fear may choose the loud message. Fear may choose the argument. Fear may choose the old story. But love often chooses something much wiser. Love may choose silence. Love may choose a boundary. Love may choose a softer answer. Love may choose to wait until the body is calm. Love may choose to walk away. Love may choose to speak the truth without poison. This little question can change the whole direction of a moment. And when fear comes, because fear still visits even when we are healing, do not treat it like an enemy. Fear is often a little child inside you, pulling at your sleeve, saying, "Are we safe? Are we going to be left? Is something bad coming?" If you shout at that child, the fear becomes louder. But if you become warm, if you come back to the heart, the whole inner world begins to settle. Put your hand there if it feels good, or simply bring your attention to the center of your chest and tell yourself, "I am guided," not because you know every answer, not because the road is fully visible, but because you are willing to trust that the next loving step can be shown. Sometimes that is all faith, is not a huge certainty, but a willingness to take one small step without abandoning yourself. When you need to make a decision, listen to more than the busy mind. The busy mind can make 1,000 arguments, can't it? It can argue for yes, argue for no, argue for waiting, argue for running, argue for staying. The body often knows something quieter. Does this choice make your chest open a little, or does it make you collapse? Does it feel like peace, even if it asks courage? Or does it feel like panic pretending to be urgency? Your intuition may not always speak in a dramatic way. Sometimes it is just a small feeling of, "This is not quite right," or "Go slowly," or "Call this person," or "Wait one more day." Learn to respect that. Your body, your intuition, and your peace are part of the guidance system life gave you. And when you meet other people, try something very simple. Before you defend yourself, bless them, not out loud necessarily, just inwardly. May you be peaceful. May you be kind. May I see you through love. This does not mean you let people mistreat you. Oh no, darling, love is not foolish. You can bless someone and still keep a boundary. You can wish them well and still leave the room. But when you carry blessing instead of defense, your energy changes. You no longer walk into every situation expecting war. You become softer, and often the world softens around you. I bring magic into ordinary moments by choosing love. This is how inner magic becomes part of daily life. It is not waiting for the perfect atmosphere. It is choosing love while brushing your teeth. It is choosing faith while answering an email. It is choosing a better thought while paying a bill. It is choosing gratitude while washing a cup. It is choosing to bless the road when you are driving. It is choosing to speak kindly to your body when you are getting dressed. Every ordinary moment can become a little doorway, and once you begin to see life this way, there are doorways everywhere. Perhaps you are standing in line at the store. You can stand there in irritation, or you can silently bless the people around you. Perhaps you are making your bed. You can rush through it, or you can say, I bless this room. I bless the rest I receive here. Perhaps you are drinking water. You can do it without noticing, or you can say, thank you, dear body. I nourish you. These are not silly things. They are ways of telling the subconscious mind that life is friendly, that your body is loved, that your day is sacred, that good can move through simple things. And then your thoughts begin to change naturally. They are no longer only reactions to the world. They become creative choices. The magic within me is awake and alive. That may sound like a big sentence, but it can live in a very small moment. It can mean, I am not asleep inside old fear today. It can mean, I remember that I have power in how I respond. It can mean, I can choose a thought that opens me instead of closes me. I am connected to the loving energy of the universe. Let that sentence relax the loneliness in you. You are not a little separate thing trying to survive in a cold world. You are part of life. The breath moving in you is life. The intelligence healing a cut on your skin is life. The sun rising without your effort is life. The timing you do not yet understand is life. The ideas that come at just the right moment are life. You are connected even when the mind forgets. Love opens my heart and faith opens my path. Love and faith work so beautifully together. Love warms the inner places that became frozen from fear. Faith helps you move before every detail is known. Love says you are safe enough to soften. Faith says you are guided enough to continue. Between these two, the heart does not have to be so hard anymore. My thoughts are filled with healing, beauty, and possibility. This does not mean every thought will be perfect. Please do not make perfection the new prison. It simply means you are choosing what to feed. If an old fear appears, you do not have to sit with it all day and serve it tea. You can say, I see you, and I am choosing possibility now. That is enough. Little by little, the garden changes. I allow miracles to move through my life in perfect ways. I love that word allow. It is so different from force. Force says, it must happen exactly as I say, exactly when I say. Allowing says, I welcome good and I trust life's wisdom. A miracle may come as an opportunity. It may come as a healing conversation. It may come as a new idea. It may come as protection. It may come as rest. It may come as the courage to stop doing something that drains you. Do not tell the universe it has only one way to bless you. My dear, you do not have to become someone else to have magic. That is such a relief, isn't it? You do not have to be more impressive, more spiritual, more beautiful, more perfect, more anything. You begin where you are, with this breath, this heart, this mind, this little willingness. Inner magic is not something you purchase, chase, or earn. It is something you uncover. It is what begins to shine when you stop covering yourself with fear, criticism, bitterness, and old stories. You return to the source of life inside you. You return to love. You return to faith. You return to thoughts that bless instead of punish. And then life begins to feel different, softer, more responsive, more alive. You may notice a small kindness and feel it deeply. You may receive an idea and trust it. You may choose peace where you once chose panic. You may stop needing every outer thing to prove that you are supported, because support begins to feel present within you. And that is when the world starts to open in quiet ways. Not always with fireworks, sometimes with a sigh of relief, sometimes with a door that opens gently, sometimes with a person who appears at the right moment, sometimes with your own inner voice becoming kind again. That too is a miracle. So let this be the way you live now. In the morning, choose love before noise. In difficulty, ask what love would choose. In fear, remember you are guided. In decisions, listen for peace. In the presence of others, bless instead of brace. These are small practices, but they change the field around you. They change the way you walk through the world. They change what you notice, what you allow, and what you become available to receive. The magic is not far away. It is waiting for your agreement. It is waiting for you to stop fighting life and begin cooperating with it. It is waiting for the heart to open, even a little. It is waiting for faith to take the next step. It is waiting for the mind to choose one thought that says, good is possible for me. And perhaps that is enough for today. One loving thought, one faithful step, one ordinary moment made sacred, one breath where you remember that you are not separate from life. You are in it. It is in you. The love in your heart and the love of the universe are not strangers. They know each other. I activate my inner magic by becoming one with love, faith, and life. Let that be the feeling you carry, not as pressure, but as a gentle truth. You are already connected. You are already held. You are already part of the great movement of good. And as you align with it, dear one, life begins to guide you in ways more beautiful than fear could ever plan.